What's going on, guys? So the headliner came in for the Cherokee. Today we are going to be installing it. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have anything in my tutorial about how to remove it, but it's fairly simple. I can do like a small little walkthrough real quick before we get started, but I have actually already removed it. You can see it right there, right in this section. The actual headliner itself has already been removed, and the only thing left to do now is just scrape all the old glue off, pull out the headliner, lay it out, cut it, glue it, and then hang it back up. Alright, so when you get to this point, you can see the Jeep. I've already removed all of the headliner in, and basically all you need to do to remove your headliner is you want to start by taking out the 3 screws right here for the sun visors. You have 1 or 2 screws right here for the mount for the sun visors, and then all of these little panels right here have clips in them. For this Jeep specifically, it was actually pretty easy. You literally just pop off the plastic going all the way around to the back. You can see there's just like one straight seam, and then all of the handles. I don't actually have one on this side, but there's 2 holes right there, one on the left, one on the right. That's for 1 handle, and you'll have 3 of those. There's gonna be 1 right there, 1 right there, and then 1 over here on the driver's side. And you basically just remove all 3 of those handles, take off all the plastic trim, disconnect your front dome light and your rear dome light, and then you have to take your speakers out of the casing. It's basically all can be done with a screwdriver, and for your handles, a star bit. It's fairly simple, and I will try and go through the process backwards when we go to put it back up so that you can actually see what I'm talking about here, but shouldn't be too difficult. It only takes about 5 to 10 minutes to get all that removed and done. So this is our old headliner. You can see speaker ports right there. This is the back side of it. This is the front side. You can see the visors. As far as the cleaning process of this material right here, I actually already started right here with 1 brush. So you can see all of this was originally like this, and any like bristle brush will work. Basically, you just want to grab your bristle brush and just move it across like this and knock all of that old film off of there from the glue and the old pad that might be stuck. So I went to Lowe's and I picked up a couple of these. It's gonna knock this out a lot faster than if I were to use the regular hand brush. Just hit it with the drill real quick. Just go over this entire thing. We're just going to be doing that and then vacuuming it as we go, and make sure that we get as much of that cleaned as possible, because anything that you have left over on this sheet right here is going to show through that headliner. Alright, so I got the glue and all of like the remaining fabric, finished scraping all that off. I went ahead and did a little sweep with the vacuum. You can see for the most part everything is picked up, other than these little tiny dots that just would not come up, like this one right here. So with the box opened and the headliner out, you can see I went with a woodland camo type of deal. You essentially just want to lay it across, and for me specifically, I'm going to be starting with this end, since the speaker mounts and all of that good stuff in this little curve. This is actually a really thick curve. I'm going to try and get all of that done first, because it's going to be a lot easier to push it out this way afterwards. And then I actually went with a little bit of a longer roll than what it called for, because all of this extra fabric, you can see it comes all the way up right here, and I'm actually going to be using this extra fabric to reupholstery the visors as well. When you get to this point, you basically just want to grab the side that you're starting with and pull it back about halfway, and then you want to start prepping your glue. So for my glue, I got a can of the Permatex Heavy Duty Automotive Headliner Adhesive. For this part, you just want to read the instructions. I'm gonna go ahead and shake this can. It says to shake it vigorously for about 2 to 3 minutes. So you can see right here, I've already sprayed like one moderately thick layer. You basically just want to go alongside the entire thing and do like a moderately thick layer over the entire piece in the center that you're going to be hitting. And now that I'm done with my first layer, just make sure that you follow the instructions on your can specifically. So with our second set of glue already sat, it sat for about 5 minutes and it's now tacky enough, I believe. We're basically just going to grab this piece right here that we folded over at the beginning, and we're gonna roll it out as we're pushing in to try and release any air bubbles that might be trapped underneath of this, and work our way from the center out until we get to the edges. And with this side right here pressed in, we have now folded it down, pushed it alongside, and gotten all the bubbles out. Now we're just gonna fold this side right here back and continue to spray and push the other side back in. With the second half already glued and pressed, the last thing to do really is to go along the edge with a really nice sharp razor and just cut all the way down. I'm gonna cut to about right here. Leave yourself about an inch. If that's the edge right there, come out to about half of what I have right here. That way you have enough to glue the backside and fold it down to try and tighten it up. So I've migrated outside. You can see this is the backside. I still haven't finished cutting all of my holes, but for the most part, the only other one that I need to cut is this one right here and the other speaker hole. And for this next portion, this is the front of the header panel. This is actually the most important part for you to tuck, because inside of the Jeep, right up there, there is no trim piece that's gonna be covering this up. All of the rest of this excess sides and stuff, everything is gonna have trim covering it, except for this one portion. This one portion right here, basically what you wanna do is just go alongside it, just like this, and just spray about an inch of the back of the fabric on both sides. You just kinda have to go around it one solid time, make sure that you get a nice piece of glue on this entire piece. Then we're gonna leave it just like that. We're gonna wait about 5 minutes, then we're gonna take this entire piece, we're gonna fold it over and tuck it onto this back side so that it stays the way that it needs to. And once you have given your glue a chance to dry, you're just gonna go right alongside the edge, just like this, and just press all of your edges in. And you're just gonna do the entire edge like this to try and tuck all of this fabric back, and helps ensure that you have a little bit of a tighter bond on some of those areas along the sides where it could potentially start poking out or falling. So now that we have the back glued in, the last step is basically just to install it. I already got both of these side pillars right here in, they're just not popped yet. I went ahead and ran my light back through, which is fairly simple, and this light is actually ran right over here directly over the top. You can see this wire kind of just runs straight to that light, which is currently just dangling down there somewhere. All we have to do now is just lift this corner right here up, place it up there while we pop those bars into place, which will hold the front end, and then we'll start popping all of our pieces back on to try and hold this thing up. All right, so I finally got it done. Took a little while longer than I'd anticipated, and I actually didn't record most of it because the speakers and those mounts right there for the seat belt took an extraordinarily long time. Basically just a whole lot of wiggling around, but it is extremely nice quality, and it's definitely better than what we had in here originally. What's going on, guys? So I wanted to give a little bit of an update on the upholstery. You can see this is about 6 months after installation. I still don't have any sagging or anything like that going on. I did actually go ahead and upholster the visors here, and if I have to give one recommendation after 6 months of use, I would say that I probably should have left a little bit more fabric up here. I know I stated it once before in the video that this should be a little bit longer than the rest because it doesn't have as much support. You can see right here it has started to come loose, and it can be tucked back up in there sometimes, but I'm going to end up having to re-glue this. Everything else is held up by this like pillar that goes around and tucks everything in except for this one piece. So I would recommend leaving this a little bit more than an inch. I'd say like 1.5 to 2 inches.